Yes, that's right. Today I'm going to be delving into the economy of Animal Crossing New Horizons. The game has posted incredible sales feats, and given the way that developers have created the in-game economy, I thought it would be interesting for me to go ahead and take a look because I think it can help us ask some questions about our own real-life economy, especially with what we're experiencing in the world right now. Okay, so here's the plan. I want to first interpret the economy of Animal Crossing, and then I want to see if we can apply it to our own economy and see if maybe we can learn anything about it. And we'll also have some good fun along the way because I went in-game and I actually audited this mysterious Tom Nook fellow, and I even tried to see if money trees work in real life. I think you're going to be pretty surprised. But I've run into a bit of a problem, and that's because I haven't really played the game, so I'm by no means an expert in Animal Crossing. We do in fact have a Switch, and my girlfriend did buy the game, but neither of us have had a ton of time right now to really play it, so I'm going to have to find somebody who has been playing. Later that week, I struck gold when I heard that one of my friends has not only been playing the heck out of the game, but I was also told she had a spreadsheet she was using to track the stock market.
Yeah, I do. I have a notebook dedicated for my Animal Crossing adventures. Basically, I have to track, so in order to figure out how you think your stock is going to trend for the week, you have to watch the pattern of the first couple days. So I always record my pattern for whatever day it is, and it changes from the morning to the afternoon. So you have to check in twice a day.
Yeah.
So you do that so that you can actually figure it out. So you have to track both sides of it, and then I just share it with a couple people that play with me.
So I have to admit, I was pretty impressed by Taylor's drive to become a successful stock market investor in Animal Crossing. And as a little side note, I thought it was kind of funny that Nintendo decided to call it the stock market, a nice little play on words, STALK. So nice one with that. So one thing that definitely stuck out to me from what she said so far is that in-game it appears that there's certain patterns that the stock market will take on. And this actually is kind of in line with a particular group of investors in the real world who think that there are patterns that happen in the stock market and that kind of repeat themselves throughout time. And this particular school of investing is called technical investing. And technical investors will look at stock charts and analyze different kinds of data, and basically what they're looking for is certain patterns that then they will try and interpret because it thinks it can tell them where the stock might be headed next. And then they'll try and make appropriate decisions in order to profit off this. Personally, I think technical investing in real life is kind of like fortune telling. Some people will tell you that it works, but most people are going to be disappointed with the results. But I mean, hey, if it works in Animal Crossing, then more power to you. And I mean, everyone's trying to use different strategies to get money in the world because after all, money doesn't grow on trees. Or does it?
Money trees, so good. They basically just appear every day. Usually there'll be a glowing spot on your island, and you just dig it up, gives you 1,000 bells just for digging it up, and then you can plant money and you'll get 3 times whatever you've planted. So you can plant up to 10,000 bells, and then in a week's time you'll have 30,000 bells growing from your tree.
Alright, so I've got my real life money tree here, and I'm going to see if we can in fact grow some money on it. So I've got some water here that I'm going to now pour into the pot. And I've also got this little bit of money that I'm going to plant, and we're going to see what happens with that. So it's planted now. Just give it a sec and see. No way. No way.
FBI, open up! Go, 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 go! Police department! Get down! Get down!
Don't try that at home. Anyway, what Taylor said about the stock market made me a little bit more curious about how the turnip trading works. I mean, what was the actual price of turnips based off of?
It doesn't really have anything behind it to motivate change for the prices. It's more so about how you interpret what happens that week. Like, it's so random. Like, nothing, it's not like if too many people buy into the stocks that it'll go up or down. It's random based, but after that it's like you have to pay attention in order to like figure out how much you want to invest.
So obviously here's a massive difference between the stock market in Animal Crossing and the stock market in our own economy. And that's because in the real world, the price of shares of a company on the stock market is based off of supply and demand. When there's more demand for a share of a company, the price is going to go up, and vice versa if there's less demand. And the supply and demand for a company's shares is based off of various factors like maybe the future expectations for that company. But it seems like the stock market in Animal Crossing is just randomly generated. Or maybe it's rigged by this Tom Nook guy that I keep hearing about.
Tom Nook, I owe him a lot of money. He owns everything. I do everything, and sometimes how he gets everything. It doesn't make any sense. I run the island, and he's in charge. I don't know. I have to do all of the work, and I'm planning the whole island, and I'm making sure everyone, my residents, is happy, and I'm cleaning it, and I'm like decorating it. I was spending all this money because I need to get 5 stars, and I had to get this dog to come sing at my place and hold a concert.
Oh, yeah.
So I did all this work for it, and then I don't get anything, and he charges me millions of dollars to upgrade my home. It does not cost that much money to get a second story. I don't think so.
that was the end of Tom Nook. Kidding, of course. Listen, I don't actually think Tom Nook is that bad of a guy, and here's why. So while he is basically trapping you in debt to come to his island, he's A, not putting a time frame on paying him back, and B, he's not charging you an interest rate on that debt. These two things are huge. In the real world, loans like this are extremely hard to come by. I mean, maybe you could get one from a friend or a family member, but if you walked into a bank and you asked for a loan like that, you would get laughed out of there real quick. That's because the whole point of a loan in the real world is to actually create a win-win situation. And what I mean by that is the bank is going to benefit from giving somebody a loan because they're going to be having an interest rate attached to that loan. So they're going to be making a profit off of making that loan. And then the person they give the loan to is also going to be benefiting if they use that loan in a productive way, because it's going to give them a source of cash flow which they did not have before. And if they put it into something that's going to be able to create a profit for them, then both sides of the coin can actually profit off of a loan if done correctly. For example, if I took out a mortgage on a home and the property value rises over time, then I'm going to benefit, and the bank is also going to benefit because they're going to get that interest payment. Speaking about Tom Nook and all his money made me actually wonder something though. Exactly how much money did he have? I mean, was he a millionaire? Or I guess it's not called money in the game, it would be a billionaire. And then I wondered, is Taylor a billionaire?
I think I'm a billionaire. Not a bill billionaire, but I'm a mill billionaire.
Okay, so there's bill billionaires who have billions?
I think that's like the highest you can get up to.
Bill billionaires, geez, that's crazy. So there's in-game Jeff Bezos out there. I mean, that's crazy. I'm curious about how much work it actually takes to do well in the stock market in the game.
It's honestly not too hard to track. Like, if you don't really care about like making a ton of money off of it, you can kind of get away with just like selling midweek and you'll be fine. But it's the people who want to make like millions of dollars off of it that really have to pay attention. Well, like, yeah, me.
Believe it or not, this is actually more or less in line with reality with our own stock market. And that's because there are ways to generate good returns without putting in tons of work. And no, I'm not talking about get-rich-quick schemes or anything scammy or something like that. I'm talking about things like robo-advisors and index funds, because with the advances in technology that we've had, it gives more people access to their fair share of the gains of the stock market. And personally, index funds are my favorite way to invest, and that's because they're a simple, low-cost way to own a well-diversified mix of stocks like Apple and Amazon, and all the way to banks or utility providers. But there are some people who try and achieve some extreme returns. Think of people like Warren Buffett. So they'll spend the vast majority of their time reading, analyzing, and making complex decisions to try and achieve massive returns on their investments. But statistically speaking, less than 5% of people are going to be able to do this successfully for the long term. It really takes a healthy dose of luck to actually be able to achieve this. And the people who try and fail will actually end up with less money than they would have had if they would have just simply bought an index fund and then just sat back and chilled. That's why Warren Buffett, even though he's achieved phenomenal returns, he recommends that people use index funds to invest their money today. And he's putting his money where his mouth is, because when he's no longer with us, 90% of his estate has been instructed to be invested in index funds. All right, so I think that was enough questions about the stock market. I think I understand it in the game pretty good. So now I was wondering a little bit more about kind of the more fanciful aspects of the game, like time traveling, for example. I was curious if this could mess up the in-game economy.
No, I think it just makes it easier for that person to do more trading. Realistically, like, when you time travel, you're just doing it so you have enough money to invest in things for your island, and the things that are the most expensive are like bridges or inclines and stuff that people can't necessarily trade with you. So those things are like where your main money is going, like house improvements.
I actually did a little quick Google search to see how the 1% lives in the game, and I saw that there's actually like a MTV style cribs thing going on where people are showing off their like luxury islands that they've built, and I thought it was pretty cool. I really like the creativity aspect of that, and I think that the freedom to express yourself in that way is actually a pretty cool part of the game. It seemed like as I learned more about the game, there were even more benefits. At one point in our conversation with Taylor, Justine actually had a little philosophical musing if maybe having a younger person play this game could be beneficial for them and teach them some valuable lessons.
But I mean, like, I was even thinking about, like, does this type of video game, like, is this the kind of video game you would raise a kid on? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like to teach them kind of about, if they're gonna play any video game, like, you know, teach them a sense of responsibility, paying off loans. Like, imagine, did you ever play a video game when you were a kid that was like, by the way, here's a loan, pay it off?
No, that's true. What do you guys think about that? Do you think you're better off after playing Animal Crossing? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, it seems to me like the game could actually be a good way to introduce some basic personal finance concepts into a young person's life. But at the same time, we don't want to go too far and get fooled into thinking that money grows on trees, that loans have zero interest and can be paid back at any time, and you can make millions selling turnips. But overall, I think it lightly touches on some very important aspects of our economy and personal finance, and can maybe even drive that inspiration for somebody to want to learn more about it. And hey, I mean, if that someone is you, then I would suggest that you check out the rest of my channel and subscribe to Cash College. It's my mission to provide accessible financial education to everyone. So with all that being said, I'm Steve Antonioni, and this has been Cash College on Animal Crossing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.